Yo, what's up, y'all? What's going on? Gather around. I got a story to tell. Gather around. I got a story to tell. First and foremost, I want to give a shout out to everybody that support me, people who share content, people who like my stories, because this is what it's all about. You know, it's not about getting on this internet and trying to bring somebody down. You know, I'm trying to be known for a specific thing, and I'm gonna get back to the stories because the stories is what I know best. It's something that I lived and I experienced. And you guys like it just as much as I like it, like to tell it. So I'm going to get back to these stories. You know, first and foremost, I'm going to start with a famous Bronx rapper, right? It's a famous Bronx rapper that was locked up. He had a couple songs that he was on and he had some notoriety. You know, he's famous in the hip hop community. And when he got locked up, you know, that hotness, that streak of being on fire from the music industry kind of followed him while he was in prison. So it attracted not only prisoners who wanted to get to know this person, but some of the correction officers and the civilians that work inside the prison took a liking to this guy, you know? And this guy, you know, he's a cool dude. He's all right, you know. And he developed a relationship with one of the people that work in the prison, you know. It was forbidden by the prison because people that work for the prison, they're not allowed to, you know, have sex or relations with any prisoner, right? So this guy had a forbidden relationship inside the prison, and everybody know that the relationship was consummated. You know, they was having sex, and that's not out of the ordinary because some people develop relationships with, some prisoners develop relationships with correction officers, civilians. You know, it's just a male and female attraction. You know what I'm saying? So it don't matter what setting you're at. If a female's attracted to you, she's attracted to you, right? So what blew things out of proportion, and the reason why this got a lot of attention, because somebody gave somebody a STD, right? And the whole prison knew about it because they gossip in prison. The correction officers gossip about everybody's business, including their own, to other prisoners because they develop a relationship, right? So if I'm cool with a CO, the CO might slip up and tell me some personal things that I'm not supposed to know. So the whole prison knew that somebody burnt somebody. And I came to the conclusion that the female burnt the dude, you know, because when we first, as prisoners, when we first go up, like upstate, they do a medical background check on us. They check us for everything, and STDs included. So they're not going to let you inside the population if you're burning, right? Or you have an STD. So the correction officer, she had to burn him, right? So years later, when I arrived in the prison, the nurse was cool. She's a very cool, sweet nurse. And it took me like a year or 2 years to, you know, years of saying hi. You know, that's how I start. You say hello, and before you know it, they cool with you, right? So we developed not a friendship, but we was cool with each other. So I asked the nurse, I just took a shot in the dark. I was like, yo, is that true that such and such got burnt? Because I wanted to know, did he really get burnt? And she was like, I can't go into someone's medical records, but I'm the one that administered the shots. What you mean shots? Like shots? Because I never had an STI or STD, but I read that if you get more than one shot, then you had syphilis. So she was like, look, I administered the shots. You know what I'm saying? I was like, wow. So somebody gave somebody syphilis. I think the correction officer gave the dude syphilis. But the reason why I'm telling this story, because you young brothers that's in prison, you know, you might attract these females, guards, the correction officers, or civilians that work in the prison. Just know that you got to stay safe. Just because they're wearing a uniform or they work for the prison, it doesn't mean that they're clean, you know? So, and to the young brothers out there, strap up, man, you know? Make sure you protect yourself because STDs is real, and they could definitely cause you harm. And as far as the rapper, you know, he's doing good now. You know, I'm sure he probably don't have it. You know, he's uplifting the community, and I want him to hold his head, be good. Power to the people, my brother. I'm gone.